about search engine chatbots? And that's Google Bard and Bing AI are a couple of the big examples. So in a sense, my take on search engine chatbots is they've kind of addressed the biggest drawbacks of the general purpose generative AI like ChatGPT. So instead of pulling it from anywhere on the web, and goodness knows the quality of that material, it's basing its summary on the top relevance ranked search results. So what that means is at least somewhat more authoritative or useful, one would presume, depending on how much you trust a search engine's algorithms. I use the search engines chatbots when I don't know where to start, when I'm starting on a project where I'm not really familiar with the topic, I don't really know what the concepts are or how to think about it. Often that gives me a good place to start. And unlike ChatGPT, which is known to hallucinate search URL sources, most of the search engine chatbots give you either URLs or cite the sources in some other way that you can track it down, which obviously is a big deal. Let me look first at Google's chatbot Bard, which is at bard.google.com. You do have to be logged into a Google account to access it. It used to be just limited to users in the US, and now it's not geographically located. It's kind of weird because the search results, they list 3 drafts of the answer. And I've looked at all 3 of them and they are not appreciably different. So I think this is just Google getting users to do some free quality control on, on their algorithms. That's just my opinion. Any of the drafts are fine. The thing that just drives me crazy about Bard is that it doesn't give you URLs of the sources. It will write it out. So it'll give you, for example, if it's cited from a report, it'll give the report name and the source. So you can usually find it, but it's an additional step and it seems like an unnecessary frustration. That said, 6 months ago, when Bard was first rolled out, it wouldn't give you any sources at all. It would throw up its little hands and just like ChatGPT say, I'm a large language model. I don't do that. It's gotten better now where it cites the sources. Generally, the fact that they've gotten that far suggests to me that we'll start seeing URLs in the next 6 months. The biggest competitor to Bard is Bing's AI. One caveat is that you have to use the Microsoft Edge browser, which most people don't use all that much, but you have to have it fired up for that. When you're using the Edge browser, when you go to bing.com, you'll notice that there's an extra option for chat right along the top of the screen. The thing that's so interesting about Bing's AI, which I really like, is that it has 3 what it calls conversation styles of the summary that it writes up. And they are vastly different. And I can't encourage you enough to go try them out yourself. Try a few kind of representative queries that your users or your patrons would be asking. Try them with the 3, the more balanced, more creative, and more precise styles, and see which one is useful for them. I'm going to do this off the top of my head. The more balanced generally gets you about 200 words. It's nice and pretty concise. The more creative is really the wrong word. It's really nicely written. It's longer. It's got bullet points. It's formatted to make it easy to read. And it's got a list at the bottom of all of the sources. So I think as a researcher, the more creative option is the most useful one for us for sort of summarizing what we find. The more precise is a little bit thicker and denser. For some of your users, that may look more authoritative. So I really encourage you to try this out and see how it works with the kinds of queries that your clients are likely to be asking you.